Well, we are nearing the end of summer, but mosquito-borne illnesses remain a risk.
We've been talking about them a lot. Many of you have heard about West Nile, which is a virus that's spread by mosquitoes, but there are key differences between different viruses. 9 News medical expert Dr. Pyle Coley joins us, and we're just now kind of hearing about St. Louis encephalitis.
Right. I've never heard of it.
What is it, and how is it different?
So it's coined from St. Louis. They found it in 1933, where over 1,000 people had it. But now it doesn't just live in St. Louis. It can happen in different parts of the country. So I want you to think about a family. And if West Nile virus is one of the siblings, St. Louis encephalitis is another sibling, and Zika is another sibling. So they're all sort of related to each other, have similar symptoms, but I would say that the St. Louis encephalitis is the shy sibling because it's very rare. So the fact that we found it here in Colorado is kind of a big deal because we don't see that many cases of it as opposed to West Nile virus. Now they're both spread by mosquitoes, which bite birds that have them and then spread them to humans.
And it was discovered here in Larimer County, right?
Yes.
And you said it's kind of a big deal. What does that mean? Is this something that we should be alarmed by? Or?
No, not at all alarmed. Most of us are asymptomatic with it, but we were looking for West Nile virus and we found St. Louis encephalitis in this pool of mosquitoes. So it's more to alert the doctors that it's out there, that it's here. So far in 2025, the CDC has not reported any cases. Any human cases. Colorado has not reported any human cases since 2003. So the fact that it's here now suggests that we could be at risk for it because we're right in the peak season and when those mosquitoes are still biting. Now the good news is humans are dead-end hosts, which means if a mosquito comes and bites us, we get infected. We don't make enough virus copies to actually infect another mosquito or to spread it to another human. So it just kind of dies off with us. And most healthy people will do well with it.
Most, but how's the difference of West Nile symptoms? Is there a difference, or how do doctors even know?
Yeah, so most people won't have symptoms, but I do really worry about the older people, anyone with diabetes, anyone with hypertension or high blood pressure with chronic immunosuppression, and older can be over 50 in some studies, over 50 in some. Because if you look at 100 people that get infected with this, most won't have symptoms. Some people will have mild symptoms of fever, muscle aches, and just feeling tired, but 5 to 20 out of 100 could have life-threatening symptoms, brain swelling, encephalitis, seizures, coma, permanent disability, and of those 5 to 20, some people will actually die from it. So the fact that this here, the fact that it's something we don't really have a vaccine for, we don't have a treatment for, we really have to make sure we're working on prevention.
So talk to us about prevention though, because I know that it's a small percentage, as you just stated, but it is scary to hear that some people could get really sick or they could die.
It is, especially now that we found mosquitoes that are harboring it. So you cannot be too safe around those mosquitoes. You have to cover up and you have to make sure that, you're using those mosquito repellents with DEET in them. And then dawn and dusk, that's the time they're biting. And the peak of infections, if you look at the transmission, it's August and September. So we're right in the time.
I think people think that it's all done.
I thought it was like June and July.
No. And so this is when the peak of human cases occur. So we really sort of have to have our guard up because you can't tell just by symptoms if you have it. And you could potentially have it and have a serious complication from it. And if you end up having it and the doctor is concerned, they may have to do blood tests. They may even have to do a spinal tap to look for antibodies in your fluid, your cerebrospinal fluid. So you have to make sure for the next couple of months, we're still working on those mosquito repellents. I know, Sam, you have that nice candle in your backyard. So still like that.
Does it work?
It works.
Okay, good. Thank you, Doctor.
Probably not if you walk really far away.
What if I walk with the candle, Dr.
How about you wear long sleeves and then put the candle on just for ambiance?
Yeah, it's chillier now in the evening, so I can wear long sleeves. So that's good advice. I'm glad we're talking about this.
Yes, and if you get bitten by a mosquito and you do have some non-specific symptoms, like a week to 2 weeks later, just talk to your doctor and see if it makes sense to have a blood test.
Yeah, I'm glad we sorted all that out.
Me
We had
too.
not heard of this, so it's a big deal. Thank you, Dr. Pyle Coley.
Thank you.